What's going on, guys? I have a 7-day backpack hunt planned here in Arizona for January. We're going to be chasing Coues deer. I have a bunch of gear laid out here on the table, and I'm going to run through everything that I'm bringing with me for 7 days in the backcountry, spot and stalking Coues deer. Some of this stuff you guys have seen before. Some things I've changed up though, so I'm just going to run through everything, and hopefully after doing that you guys will kind of have a better idea of what maybe you can bring on your archery Coues deer hunt in Arizona. So first and foremost is the backpack. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I have a dedicated review to this pack that goes in detail about it, but this is the K4 5000. I put this thing through the ringer. Carries weight extremely well. I've been a fan of EXO for a lot of years, and I've always really liked how their backpacks fit me. It's got just enough storage, so you have just enough organization, but not too much to where it's confusing. And I just really like how these packs have always worked. I have got the lid on here, got the down on the bottom I have the bow carrier. You can put the cam of your bow in there, so it'll protect the cam should you fall or something like that, which is something that I have done while hiking through the backcountry. So really useful tool. Got the Nalgene holder right here, which is something that I didn't think I was going to use too much of, but now that I have it, I actually really like it. It's pretty nifty to have the Nalgene right there, especially if you're going on a water mission or something like that. You're going to go filter a bunch of water. You can filter your Nalgene too and bring that back to camp. Front of the pack here, I have a Peak Designs clip. This is what I clipped my camera to, which is right there, because I like taking photos and we film our hunts and everything. So that is the backpack. Set this down over here. Let's go through shelter and sleep system. Okay, so the shelter I'm going to bring with me is the Archery Wahi. I'm going to run it with the insert. So this is the tent. This is the insert. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I have a dedicated review to this shelter. Go check that out. But the short end of it is I love this shelter if I'm trying to go as lightweight as I can. I don't know how far back in we're going to end up. Okay, so this allows me to keep the weight down, but the livability not so tiny that I feel like I'm in a coffin. Okay, so which is kind of the effect that you get from stuff like bivvies and stuff like that. They're super lightweight, but something like this is going to offer a little bit more livability, which is incredibly beneficial for when, you know, say there's a storm or something like that. You're weathering a storm, or, you know, in January the nights are super duper long. So if you're back there solo, you might be spending like probably 14 hours or so in the tent. So that's a lot of time to spend in a shelter, and I want to be comfortable. So this gives me a little room. I can lay out, you know, some clothing on the inside of it and everything like that. But I don't feel like I'm like, you know, like a pencil inside the tent. So Archery Wahi. I'm gonna set this up with a trekking pole. In the past, I've used the Rincon pole, but this is a Coues deer hunt. I'm not too concerned about being like really heavy coming out. Coues deer don't weigh that much, so I'm going to set this up with the trekking pole, and I'll just have one trekking pole for packing around should I get a deer down. That is the tent there. My sleeping pad, Nemo Tensor Alpine. I love this sleeping pad. It is rated to 20 below, okay, but it's super lightweight. I've used it in moderate weather too. Like, I haven't just used this in cold weather. So what I'm getting at is I don't get too hot if I'm using this bomber sleeping pad. I haven't, like, knock on wood, I haven't put a hole in this thing yet. It's been super durable. I do run Tyvek on the bottom of the shelter to try to help avoid that whole situation, but super awesome pad. Like, you can feel your heat radiating up from the pad when you sleep on this. And I'm a side sleeper too, and this thing has always been really comfortable. So that's my sleeping pad. Sea to Summit Eros ultralight pillow. I've ran this thing forever. This is a new one, but I've ran this model forever. Always been really happy with this. And then also on the inside of the tent, I like to, this is like I've called this like my backcountry luxury item in the past. This is a Helix Li from Princeton Tech. It's a little lantern that I use to illuminate the inside of the tent. Just kind of hang it from the top. I can see the whole inside of the tent. It helps me save a little bit of batteries on my headlamp. It's just nice. It's just a nice thing to have, especially like I like taking photos and stuff, so I can set this up on the inside of the tent and take like these astrophotography photos with the tent lit up and everything. So it's pretty nifty for that too. I really like this thing, and it just packs down like that. This is also rechargeable. It doesn't take batteries, so you charge it right here, okay? And it's always lasted me the whole time. I haven't had an issue with battery life. Speaking of light, the headlamp that I am bringing with me, this is a Princeton Tech Viz. Favorite headlamp right now. The battery life is incredible. I know I was saying about I was worried about like saving battery life. That is something I've always tried to do no matter what. Like I'll hike in the dark a little bit if I can just see enough to conserve battery life, because it's battery life is super important in the backcountry, right? We'll get into that a little bit later down the table. But Princeton Tech Viz, really dig this headlamp. I've had this before. The thing that sold me about this headlamp, I had it on a 10-day, actually 12-day elk hunt, the first season I ever used it, and I never changed the batteries once. The last evening when I was hiking back to the truck, it started to dim a little bit, and then I just popped it into spot mode with the big bright spotlight and got back to the truck no problem. So dig this headlamp. This one does take batteries, AAA's, so I carry an extra set of those in the backpack. That's my sleep. Sleep system. This is the sleeping bag right here. Feathered Friends Lark UL10. Okay, so super warm bag, very lightweight. I believe it's like 900 and 950 fill down, goose down, something like that. Very high quality sleeping bag. I've had this thing down into pretty cold temperatures and always been toasty warm. And for how low it is rated for temperature wise, it packs down pretty dang small. I stuff it down way down in the bottom of the backpack, and because it's down, it compresses extremely well. So I have it stored like this because this is how you want to store your down. Don't keep your down compressed when you're storing it, because it'll take away the loft and you're gonna lose your insulation value like that. So that's the sleeping bag. I'm gonna actually put this right here, get a little bit of room here. So moving on, let's jump into clothing. Socks, I'm bringing, this is a crispy midweight sock. Always had great luck with these, very comfortable. I'll probably bring one other pair of socks with me, probably be the Farm to Feet Eli. Love that sock too, stays in place, never had an issue with slipping or anything like that, and the same thing goes for this sock too. Boxers, First Light boxers, always had great luck with those. Clothing, this was a big change for me. I'm gonna try out Sitka this year. Always heard great things about this stuff. The top is gonna be the Core Merino, the 120. This is hooded. Very, very, very comfortable base layer. Very excited to run this. It also has the built-in face mask on it, so much appreciated as a bow hunter for spot and stock Coues deer hunting. On the bottom, these things I am like really, really, really excited about. This is the Intercept pant. Very quiet, okay? Not so lightweight that I'd be like worried about getting cold, but not so heavy that I feel like I'm gonna sweat a whole lot. It's a really nice like mid-weight type of pant. It's got built-in knee pads. One of the coolest things about it is it has these heat dumps on it on the side here, which is also much appreciated. Spot and stock bow hunting, like sometimes you're making big goes at deer, and sometimes that's happening real fast. And in Arizona during January, like even though it's January, sometimes it could get into the 70s, man. So it can get pretty toasty. So very excited about this. This is I think I'm really gonna like this pant for sneaking up on Coues deer. So over that, so over the Merino 120, this is the ambient. This is another piece that I'm really pumped on. I've been wearing this just around the house, doing yard work and stuff. This is a jacket. The inside is ridiculously soft. They call this their active insulation. So when it's like, you know, super cold out, but like it's you don't want to hike in one layer. This is going to be the ticket right here to keep you warm, but not have you be absolutely drenched when you're hiking. So really excited to see how this works out in the field. So that's that. Over that, this next piece is kind of, I'm going to kind of leave the weather up to this. This is the Mountain Evo jacket. This is a wind barrier, okay? So I'm going to keep an eye on the weather. Obviously I'm backpack hunting, so like weight matters and space matters. So if I see it's going to be windy and it's going to be a little colder, I'll probably bring this with, and this will go over the ambient to block wind. Pretty unique piece of gear that I think is going to come in super handy. This is, I believe this is the Jetstream beanie. This thing's super comfortable. I'm a beanie guy out in the field. Love beanies. Up top installation, this is the Kelvin Aerolite jacket. This is gonna go, so if I run that Mountain Evo, this is gonna go over the Mountain Evo, okay? So, a misconception I always had, and after chatting with the boys at Sitka about this, super appreciate the clarification, and it makes a lot of sense. I've always been someone that if I was wearing, like, say, rain gear as a windbreaker, I would have put that over my insulation, okay? What they suggest doing though is running the windbreaker, which is essentially what I was getting from rain gear, underneath the insulation so you don't compress the insulation at all. You compress your insulation, you compromise your warmth, okay? So that's how I would wear that. And if I don't bring the Mountain Evo, this is just gonna go on top of the ambient. So really excited about this jacket. It's got a hood on it. It's really lightweight, and it's definitely warmer than it looks. Like, it looks pretty thin. But whatever they got going on the inside of this thing, it holds warmth very well. So very excited about that jacket. Again, the next piece is going to be weather dependent. You know, this is the Dew Point rain jacket. If the weather's going to be nice, I'm probably not even going to pack this. But even if I did, this thing is really lightweight. It compresses down really well. And it probably wouldn't hurt too much to bring it along anyways, but I'm just going to kind of leave the weather up to that. So that's all the clothing that I'm bringing with. Super excited to use all that stuff. I'll probably do a dedicated video just to that Sitka layering system, just to see how it stacks up in the field. So all right, cooking. Jet boil, pretty standard. It's my coffee cup. It's Christmas. I bring this with me all year long, but right now is the holidays and it fits, so win-win. Inside here, these things are rad, man. You have your fuel canister, stove in here. On the bottom, I have a little piezo igniter down there. That thing is very handy. Love that. I've ran super ultralight stoves in the past, and like, I tell you what, man, like what you save on weight with those, you lose in fuel efficiency, especially if it's windy. If it's windy, it can take in upwards of 10 minutes to boil water for whatever you're making, coffee, dinner, whatever, with those very ultralight stoves. When it's not windy, they absolutely crush. They're awesome. Little 3-ounce stove, and it boils water in 2-3 minutes. That's rad. But when the wind starts up, it's not going to be that efficient. So that right there, that little fuel canister, that's the only fuel canister I will have with me on this whole 7-day backpack hunt. And I make breakfast and coffee in the morning, and then dinner at night. So that system has worked very well for me. A couple bathroom type stuff. We got my dentist is super rad and gives me these little kits because they know that I backpack hunt. So a little toothbrush, travel size, floss, and toothpaste right there. A good friend of mine, Brad Brooks, he always says gingivitis doesn't take any days off, so be sure to brush your teeth out in the field. Toilet paper, you know, there is also Purell in there. So before you start laughing, I carry Purell with me because I had a search and rescue guy a long time ago tell me the #1 reason that people get sick in the field is from going to the bathroom and not washing their hands. I don't know how true that is, but ever since I heard it, I always bring that with me, so take that for what it is. First aid kit. This is from My Medic. This is pretty stripped down from what you would get when you buy this. There's usually some other straps all over this and everything. I've stripped it down to the bare bones on the outside just to make it smaller and a little bit more lightweight. I love this thing. This has everything in it, like everything. You've got a tourniquet, there's hydration, there's a space blanket, stuff for blisters, nitrile gloves. There is all this, like topical stuff for like you get bug bites or anything like that. Very, very, very handy system for backpack hunting especially. The only thing that I added to this, which actually comes with it but I ran out, was I just added this little container of ibuprofen. And that's about it, man. Other than that, this thing is amazing. This thing's always with me in my pack, whether I'm backpack hunting or not. So really cool stuff from My Medic. Okay, well, let's do boots and then we'll get into the optics and stuff. Crispy Colorado 2s. These have a lot of use on them. They're starting to get to the point where I'm thinking about replacing them, but there's still a decent amount of tread on them. Super comfortable boot. Love these things. Great for spot and stock hunting. I've spot and stocked a lot of animals wearing these boots, and I'll get a little bit into that later on. But they've held up really good. I believe these have about 1.5 years of use on them. And they're still kicking. So I've never had these things leak, and I've had them in a mess of snow. Sorry about the dog. I've had them in a mess of snow and a mess of rain, and I've never had issues with these things leaking, unless, okay, a misconception out there, if the water goes through the top of the boot, all right, that's not the boot's fault, okay? So, and that's what gaiters are for, but I'm not gonna have that issue on this hunt. So, Crispy Colorado 2s. Okay, so this is a Coues deer hunt. This is going to involve a lot of glassing. So the glassing setup that I bring with me, it has been, in my opinion, the most efficient glassing system for my goals out there hunting Coues deer in January. So got him in the FHF bino harness. Always been a fan of FHF, love their stuff. This part pops forward. In here I have the 10x42 Razor UHDs. That's my go-to binocular pretty much for everything. It has enough reach on it where I can put it on the tripod right there and do like more meticulous glassing, but it doesn't have so much magnification that I can't freehand it, right? Like stuff like 15s and everything. And I'm sure there's people that do this, but freehanding a pair of 15s, because the magnification is so high, you see a lot more movement. It's more sensitive to movements with your shake, right? Like you can see your pulse even when you're glassing. So I think a 10x42 is the best all-around option. Rangefinder, this is one of my favorite gear items of the entire year, okay? This is the Razor, I have this disconnected right now. This is the Razor GB from Vortex. This thing is rad. This is a bow hunt, so my favorite part about this doesn't really concern this hunt, but this basically, in a nutshell, this connects to a geoballistics app on your phone, and if you're rifle hunting, you input all your ballistic data into the app. This connects to it, and then all of a sudden, magically, you can range an animal, and on the inside you get a readout that tells you what MOA to hold for, everything like that, all the juicy details you need to make a great shot. And I've put it to the test multiple times on live animals, and it works great. So I'm just going to be running it in standard HCD mode though, the angle compensating mode, because this is a bow hunt though. So really awesome piece of gear. Aside from the binoculars, I do bring a spotting scope with me. This is the new Vortex, the Mini Razor. I ran the older version of this many years ago, and I liked it, but the thing that was hard for me about it was the ocular side was sometimes hard to look through, because it was just super small looking through that thing, so you couldn't really glass through it for a long time. This thing though, I do not have that issue, and I'm super psyched about it. Just being a backpack hunter, like, this is very small, it's lightweight. I got the straight version, it fits in the backpack really well, and it's got the exact same, you can't see it right now because I have a all-in adapter on here, but it's got the same style of ocular lens as the 65mm and the 85mm. So you can look through this thing all day, and it's rad. I don't get like the tunnel vision effect that I was getting with the first version. All-in adapter on here as well for whenever I want a digiscope. That is a fantastic digiscoping system. So that is that. That's optics, man. So in terms of power, I mentioned power earlier. Like, the best charger that I have found, the most efficient, it works the quickest, is this is the Dark Energy Poseidon Pro. I just was out on a 12-day elk hunt and used this thing over and over and over again, and I had to recharge it a couple times, but throughout like one charge, I would get about 3 charges on my phone, okay? And it charges fast. So you know, when you plug in your phone, like I have a Samsung, when I plug it in at my house with the Samsung charger, it says fast charging, right? So it charges it super quick. That's actually what it says with this, which is super impressive. It doesn't do that. My phone doesn't do that with any other charging brick that I have. And it doesn't even do that with my truck. I plug it into my truck, it doesn't even say that. So this thing, I think at 50%, my phone, it charged it in like 35 minutes or something like that, like back to full charge. Unbelievable efficiency with this. So this thing is rad. This is the cable that you're gonna use with it. Other electronics I bring, this is a Garmin InReach 66i. This is, I'm thinking about going down to a mini eventually, because I originally got this for the mapping as well, and I haven't honestly found myself using mapping on this that much. Mostly I use Onyx and my watch. I have a Garmin watch that I navigate with as well. But nonetheless, this is an InReach. I stay in contact with my family through this thing. And I don't go anywhere in the field without it, whether I'm backpack hunting or not. For those of you that aren't familiar with an InReach, satellite communication device, allows you to text. You can set up your phone, Bluetooth through it, text off your phone anywhere. It's got an SOS button on it just in case things get real hairy. You fall down, break a leg, you can't get out of where you are. You can hit this SOS button, you'll be connected with search and rescue, and you're gonna get out of there safe and sound. So pretty awesome piece of gear for backpack hunting. This is a spare release that I bring with me. So I run an index style release. That's my favorite type of release to run. My backup, I don't have a spare index though at the moment. So my backup is this Stan Perfex. This is one of the finest thumb releases I've ever used. I think they came out with a new one, but before y'all start commenting and being like, oh, you just gotta have a different impact, blah, blah, blah. I've tested this with the index release. How I have this set up and my index release, they have the same impact. I've tested that out. Moral of that is you need to test it out, okay? If you are gonna have a different release than your main release, you need to test it with your main release to make sure your impact point doesn't change, because it absolutely could. But with this one, it doesn't, so That's what I have with me in the bottom of my pack. Leuco tape. This stuff is super cheap. You can get it on Amazon, very cheap. Awesome tool for negotiating your way around blisters and stuff and just avoiding them altogether. If you feel a hot spot coming in, okay, a little bit, stop, put some of this stuff over that, and this stuff sticks like mad, dude. Like the first time I ever used this, I was in Utah, backpack hunt, quite a few years ago, and I applied it one time at the beginning of the trip, and it was still there. I never reapplied the entire week I was there. It was still there, and when I came home, it was like hard to get off of my foot. So that stuff is really awesome. I always have it with me. You got to keep your feet in shape. If your feet aren't in shape, it's going to compromise your ability on your hunt. So you got to think about that stuff. That Core Merino 120 has a face mask on it, which I'm going to play with. I like the option of having that, but I'm also a face paint guy, and the reason being I'm a face paint guy is because it doesn't change my anchor point at all when I'm at full draw. I can feel everything on my face, string and all, so I can shoot more consistently like that. So this 1000% is going to be in my backpack, and I'm going to have to test out the face mask on that 120 hoodie to see if I need this or not. But I'm probably going to just use this anyway because I'm paranoid. So I mentioned stalking in the Colorados. In the past, I have had a lot of luck stalking in bare Colorados. Okay, I've arrowed quite a few animals just in boots, but Coues deer country is very loud. Okay, and this thing that my buddy made has been super helpful for spot and stalking in the desert. These are called the Stock Zone sneakers. You can get these at, there's a pro shop here called Ross Outdoors. They have an online store. You can get these. These go over your boot. Okay, I'll show you real quick here. So you don't have to take your boots off or anything. They go on pretty quick when you're actually wearing the boot. This is interesting doing this with my hand. Tighten them down back here. Okay, and then I just take these and I just kind of tuck them in here. So the bottom is a super soft, very comfy feeling fur. Like it's almost, yeah, I don't know what else to call it. It's very soft. This 100% quiets your footfall, okay? 100%, okay? And in Arizona, where the ground is pretty much team Coues deer because it's so dang loud, this helps immensely with the loose rock that you're oftentimes stepping on. It gives a little bit more give. It doesn't have that, like with a boot, it fights the ground right away, right? So if it hits a rock, the boot doesn't have that much give, right? So the rock is gonna scrape on the other rocks around, whereas this muffles it much more. Okay, so it absolutely makes a difference. They are stupid light. Okay, so when my buddy first showed me these, I was like a little hesitant because of how the size of them. But honestly, man, I just clip them right to the outside of my pack, and I don't even know they're there. They're very light. It's a type of like it's a type of foam or something on the inside, which obviously helps with the footfall. So Stock Zone sneakers, if you spot and stalk in Arizona especially, or in the West in general, check these things out. Okay, let's go. Oh, I kind of skipped over this. We'll cover this real quick. Kill kit. Coues deer hunting, I usually bring like, I mean, you really only need like one game bag, but I usually bring a few of them just in case I want to split the load between friends. which isn't that much, honestly. Or I want like an extra bag to wrap the head in. So I bring a few High Country game bags from Archery. That's their smaller version of game bag, the most ultralight one they have. And then the stuff in here, this is I've got a knife. So Stealth carbon knife from Archery. I love this thing. It's got a really nice point on it. Helps with that initial incision in the animal. And holds its edge fantastic. Not to mention it's a looker. It's a black knife, so it just looks smoking. So S35 VN steel holds an edge great, but I can still sharpen this when I get home. That's the thing I like about that. And then I got some paracord in here, some extra paracord and flagging tape for blood trailing and stuff. So that's what's in there. Let's see here. Getting down to the wire here, guys. All right, right here, I skipped over this too. This is just a little extra. So I have the headlamp and the lantern right there. This is kind of a backup for me. This is a little flashlight from Dark Energy, but it's also a plasma lighter up here at the top. You can't see that, but it's a plasma lighter, so I can use it for that, lighting fires. And it's a flashlight as well. Pretty nifty little thing that I keep in the lid of my backpack. As far as water goes, actually totally forgot to bring this out here. Hang tight. I'm back. So water on me, I'm gonna have this 3 liter from Platypus, Big Zip Evo. Always had good luck with this. It's never broke on me, but one thing it has done, you need to remember, I forgot to do this on a bear hunt recently, you need to remember to actually hang this in the backpack, okay? I was packing out my bear and I forgot to hang this from the little Velcro strip in the EXO. So it fell down, and because it was falling down, my tube, my water bladder tube, it kept going this way, right? So I kept like, oh man, get back over here. Well, I ended up pulling the tube off of the little spout here, and the water went out of the bladder. Okay, luckily that backpack has a little drain on the bottom. I've never had to use this before in the past. I'm so glad that it's a simple feature on the pack that I'll show you right here. Right here, there's that little hole right here. Okay, this backpack is pretty darn waterproof to begin with. So the water pooled at the bottom of the pack and just leaked right out that hole. I had all sorts of clothes in the backpack and nothing got wet. I was super happy, very impressed with that. But that is the water bladder I'm bringing with me. Other than that, I haven't had any issues with this. Awesome 3 liter bladder. If you hunt in hot weather a lot, you are familiar with 3 liter bladders. But I'm gonna need more water than that. So I scouted this area recently, okay, so I know that there is a very adequate water source where I'm going. You have to do that in Arizona. Okay, you cannot go off of what's on a map. You have to scout water. So what I'm bringing with me is this is a 10 liter Catadine Be-Free filter. So the water source is about a mile downhill from camp. Okay, so I'm bringing this 10 liter with me. It's a giant pool of water. I know I'm gonna be able to fill up this entire thing, bring it back up to the camp, and I'm gonna have running water essentially right at my camp. So that's what I'm bringing with me to help save trips. In light of saving trips, hiking in, I'm gonna bring water in with me. It's not that far of a hike, okay? So I'm gonna have that 3 liter filled up, a Nalgene bottle, so that's 4 liters, and then I'm gonna bring this in with drinkable water as well. This is a 6 liter Dromlight bag from MSR. So I will have 10 liters in total when I get to my camp. Okay, so that's gonna help avoid going on a water mission sooner than later. So that I love this thing. This thing is super awesome. Other than that, this is just an example day of food for me. Like obviously I'm gonna have 7 of these bags and 14, maybe 12, 11, something like that, something like that, of these things, because I'm not gonna need breakfast the first day and I'm not gonna need dinner the last day. Probably that's kind of how I pack. But this is breakfast and dinner. This is a day of food for me. I got stuff in here like gummy bears, Heather's Choice Packaroons, Pack Out Bar from Wilderness Athlete, Kind Bar. I've got Lara bars, little, like one of my favorite lunches, Ritz crackers with tuna. Love that. And then I think that's about it. There's a fruit strip in here too, and an RX bar as well. That's a day. This is what I'm going to eat between breakfast and dinner. For breakfast, I love doing. There's coffee in there as well. Obviously, I'm not going backpack hunting without coffee. We're not crazy. For breakfast, I like doing these. These are. This is oatmeal from Heather's Choice. She just came out with these like semi-recently. In the past, she always had buckwheat. She's got some more options now though, and these things are really good, man. Rated about 500 calories and super tasty. I love these things. And they're super small. That's one of the things I really like about these meals is how small they are, and they don't take a ton of water. You know, other freeze-dried and dehydrated meals that I've used in the past, some of them will take 16 ounces of water or more. Water is valuable in the desert, okay? Every time you use water, whether you're drinking coffee, you're making a meal, you're drinking, okay, you're spending money, essentially. You're spending your money, your bank accounts, your water, okay? So love that for breakfast. This is shepherd's pie for dinner. Very, very good dinner. Again, rated about 500 calories. Like I don't feel super stuffed after I'm done eating this, and oftentimes I'll pair this with like either one of her Packaroons or like a Snickers bar or something like that. So all in all, for a day of food, I shoot, okay, for about 3,500 calories in a day, okay? Right around that. It might be 3,200, it might be 37, okay? Right about that. That's what I shoot for in a day of food. I don't really look at like, oh, I need 1,200 calories for dinner. I don't really do that. I just kind of go off of calories in total for the entire day and just kind of cut that down throughout the day and eat as I will. So last thing on the list is trekking poles. These are the Carbon X poles from Archery. I've ran these things for quite a while now. Love these trekking poles. One of them will be used to set up the Oahe, and the other one will be on me. One of the things I really like about these is the locking system on them. It's very easy to adjust the tension of how tightly these lock down. All you're doing is you pop this cap here, and if you want it tighter or looser, you just rotate this around either way, tighter or looser, and you can adjust the tension of how tight this actually locks down. Another feature that I like about these trekking poles, it just adds to the versatility. This isn't gonna be super applicable on this hunt, but this orange cap here does pop off, and Archery has several attachment features that go to here. They have an X10 adapter that allows you to basically glass. You can glass like from your tripod. They also have a quick shot adapter, so like say you're turkey hunting and you're sitting, you'll have a shooting rest here for your shotgun. So pretty cool stuff, man. You can also take that X10 adapter and actually connect both of these trekking poles together, screw them together, and then you've got a larger center pole for like a bigger shelter, bigger teepee style shelter. So pretty cool, innovative trekking pole. All right, guys, that's gonna do it. That's what I'm bringing with me. 7-day backcountry archery hunt in Arizona for Coues deer. I absolutely cannot wait. It's one of my favorite hunts of the year. Thank you so much if you've stuck with me this entire video. I know it's a little bit longer one, but there's a lot of stuff here to talk about. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, drop them down below and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. If you don't see something here that you enjoy bringing with you on your backpack hunts that you think is valuable, drop that down below too. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Other than that, if you like the video, please hit thumbs up. If you like the channel, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.